Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
Hi, this is Ed Cohen in San Diego, California. Today is December 3. Thank heavens this year's almost over, right? Looking forward to Lucky 21. So, Global TV Talk Show has been around out of necessity because our live conferences disappeared on or about March 1. And since about mid-March, I've been doing this, trying to learn how to be a talk show moderator. And we've had the graciousness support from people like John Schuldt and International Auto Source and several others to further enable this distribution and marketing. Producer Paul Johnson and I have been producing talk radio shows for 10 years. And then I said to Paul, do you know anything about Zoom? I've never done this. And so we have been playing with this since mid-March, and we've done about 50 broadcasts. So thank you for trying us out. Very interested to learn, Paul Bernardt, about harmony. And how you developed into that, how you yourself found yourself doing that, and what you did just prior, just so we can have a timeline for many of the younger audience we have. So Global TV Talk Show has received, the network on our website, has received over 50,000 reader page views since mid-March, according to Google Analytics, if you can believe some of that stuff from them. Well, we'll believe it because it sounds good.
Yeah, we should actually. Yeah. What else can you believe in? Yeah.
I know. Yeah. So globalbusinessnews.net is our parent. We've had the website since about 03. And Google has said that we've had over 1.2 million page views, as they call it, which means you or me, we go to the site and we look at one page and then we go to another and then another. So it could be multiple from the same people. So I think that the page view idea is a better indication of extensive awareness and engagement, if you will, rather than unique visitors and then they jump off and go to another site. So page views is much more important, and that gives a longevity idea. And so I came up with the value of extending this shelf life of today's broadcast out 12 months, guaranteed, based on our site, with a link right to our global YouTube network show, and where all the programs are listed. Free access. So Paul, you're in Amsterdam. Tell us about, briefly, your background and what you did just before being named to direct the Harmony Relocation Network.
Okay, yeah. So Paul Bernardt, I'm a Dutch national. I live in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Have always lived there, and haven't been an expatriate myself. I'm married to an expatriate, though, a lady from the Basque Country. Part of Spain, obviously. I was a bit born into this industry. My father owned a moving company, transportation company, locally in the area, and nothing to do with where I am today. So when I was 8, I was folding the blankets in the back of the truck. When I was 13, I was driving the forklift and washing the trucks. And when I was 18, I was actually studying and working as a mover myself. And at about 23, 24, I started at this organization. So it was the only thing I did before this particular company was studying.
And what's the name of the company?
The company is Harmony Relocation Network.
Okay, great. But in the early days, it wasn't called that, was it?
No. It started out as UTS in the early 90s.
UTS. Okay.
Yeah, and then in the sort of the year 2000 up until 2015, it was called Unigroup UTS. We had a strategic alliance with the American company, American Van Line Unigroup, and that separated late 2015. So we had to come up with a new branding, and we decided to go with Harmony. Harmony Relocation Network. I mean, the network's still the same. It's just a new name. And
So,
of course,
yeah, so your network, Harmony Relocation Network, is mostly it's family-owned businesses that happen to be in the storage and freight and shipping business, right?
that's correct. Yeah, they're all small, medium-sized, and some very large, privately owned, moving, transportation. Some do logistics, and of course, destination services. There's about, I would say, 30% of the companies that also do DSP.
So this is unrehearsed, as we know. I want the audience to be sure they know this is spontaneous combustion here. So how many corporate HR, corporate mobility, in-house corporate mobility manager contacts would you guess the Harmony Relocation Network currently has in its files? Just contacts. A lot, right?
Difficult. Yeah, it's difficult. We don't consolidate. In fact, the head office, of course, that I head up, we're not commercially active as a strategy. The only thing we do is we support our member companies for them to be commercially successful. So we do write RFPs, we do pricing, but always in support of a member company. Right. It's not out there, not us out there. I would say on average about 15,000 contacts, more or less.
So, yeah, that's cool. That's really an effective way. It's not really a franchise. It's an association, right?
It's not a franchise. We normally refer to it as a cooperative global network. And it is a cooperative because it is so it has reverse ownership. So all the member companies, there's about 120, 125. All of them are shareholders of the organization. And that creates the cooperative model.
Now, so there's some sharing. It's like any other organization. Some people share better than others, and but the idea, the whole philosophy is sharing, and the high tide lifts all boats.
Yeah, it goes a bit further than that. It's not just we're not an association as VD or IAM is. They support their members with information and networking. That's not who we are. We're a commercial company and a commercial network, and we refer to ourselves as a shared service center. So we help and support our members to be, either reduce costs or be, commercially more successful.
So the nature of this program is strictly global PR, public relations, corporate relations, getting the message out, encouraging communication, and so that's why I'm coming at you with these impromptu points. So,
Ed, can I ask a question?
Absolutely. I was just going to say, John, tell us about your time in Asia.
Sure. Well, Paul, I had a wonderful 31-year career with Ford Motor Company, and of that 31 years, I spent 11 between Japan and South Korea. Mm-hmm. So I've been an expat. I've done a total of 6 international moves back and forth between the United States and Asia. And even within the United States, I've relocated 15 times.
Okay.
So quite
better customers.
Moving companies liked me, and they liked Ford. They liked Ford Motor Company as well.
Yes. Yeah.
But I have a question for you. Not being in the moving industry like yourself, let's say I got 2 trucks and 10 people. What's the benefit to me by joining Harmony Network? How do I benefit?
For every company in the network that we have, the benefit is different. Some benefit from being part of the netting system, some benefit of being part of a global cooperative by just receiving a lot more business because the business is usually shared within the network. I would say the most common denominator is that it is very difficult for individual companies that are alone in their local market to be really competitive against the larger global organizations and the larger global competition.
Okay.
And what we offer as a network is that you tick all the boxes on compliance and health and safety and quality and etc., but still be local. Yeah. So you're able to compete better. You're able to sell a network. You're able to sell a global brand, while still be a local company. So if you're an independent, local, family-owned company with a couple of trucks and a warehouse and some crews, then you're more likely to grow your business if you're part of a global network than if you are alone. The larger contracts don't go to smaller companies anymore. They all go to the larger groups.
Yeah.
So
And Harmony Network operates in Asia, Europe, North America, South America?
Everywhere. Yeah, we're in 63 countries now.
Okay.
Every continent, obviously. And we're expanding. We got a list of about 10 companies that want to join, that'll join early next year. So yeah, it's going well from a network development perspective. And of course, you have to be global because the clients are also global.
Yeah.
So, John, I really appreciate you sponsoring, of course, and participating because your perspective is unique, different than mine. I'm just a PR guy. But, John, as a customer service approach, what IAS can do is extend the engagement, the employee benefit engagement by IAS. And I'm teeing this up, Paul, of course, but I'm teeing up the idea of IAS can give credit to somebody in order to buy a car or rent a car, and
Right.
who ordinarily wouldn't qualify.
Right, Paul, that's our business model. We've been in business for 25 years. We've got 50,000 customers around the globe. Your network, the firms within your network could benefit financially from partnering with IAS, both for the purchase and lease of a new vehicle when an expat is relocating to a new country, or for a rental product. We have a global rental agreement with Hertz and Avis. We operate in over 150 countries around the world. And when you have, as today with COVID and with travel restrictions, you have some assignments that are more short-term than permanent relocation or a traditional 3-year assignment. So this 6-month or 8-month, say, project management type of assignment, and someone needs to relocate from the Netherlands to Slovakia. We can put someone into a rental vehicle on a monthly basis on with a fee that includes insurance and multiple drivers.
So would that be a Skoda?
Maybe get a Skoda, although Ford operates there as well.
Okay.
But and so then what we would do, when we get the lead from Harmony International, then we would pay a referral fee back to Harmony International, or however you wanted to set it up. So I might reach out and contact you after this broadcast, and maybe we could have a more in-depth discussion about how a partnership could benefit.
Yeah, absolutely, and we do that type of thing with quite a few external vendors, insurance, leads, baggage shipments, all sorts of sort of external supply technology, whereby the members can benefit from, let's say, the procurement power, but also the ease of administration. You could bill the agents, and we could pay you essentially through our netting system. That kind of thing is something we can offer. So it serves both you as well as our members.
And you make you brought up a good point. What we do, we only do automobiles. We don't do destination service. We don't do relocation. We just do automobiles. So for a DSP or a smaller or mid-size moving company where they might get a request, hey, how can you help me get a car? How can you help me get a rental car?
Yeah.
We can take that off their plate, and that allows them to provide the best service to their customers that they're moving. So we're very happy to do that.
And now a word from our co-sponsors. Our programs wouldn't happen without the wonderful support of our advertisers. Here they are.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice, at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
Cube Monk, featuring the world's first smart cube. Track your goods with our advanced GPS system. Welcome to the future of moving and relocation at cubemonk.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by heirs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at heirs.com.
Insured Nomads provides protection and peace of mind, with health insurance, travel insurance, group, or tailored insurance for the globally mobile. Visit us at insurednomads.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Hi, my name is Christine. I'm a nurse from the Philippines, and I got to know IAS through Worldwide Health Staff Solutions. And I want to thank IAS, especially to Matthew, for helping me get my car stress-free, headache-free. And so I just want to show you the car that I got. So it's a RAV4 XLE 2020.
As an expat moving to the USA, relocating is exciting, but it can also be stressful. Getting a car, truck, or SUV for personal transportation is usually a high priority. That's where International Auto Source comes in. We make getting the vehicle you want for your work assignment or academic program easy, so you're ready to drive when you arrive. Our our product specialists have helped over 50,000 expatriates with their personal transportation needs, making us the largest international auto retailer in the world. International Auto Source gives you flexible payment options to buy, lease, or rent a vehicle from the world's leading auto brands, arrange financing on a purchase or lease without a U.S. credit history, social security number, or driving record, get full insurance coverage, and get approved easily through our low-rate factory-backed financing programs. And because we're an authorized distributor of the world's leading automotive brands, our no-haggle prices are competitive, and the buying experience is hassle-free. We'll even guarantee your new vehicle will be ready the day you arrive. With over 20 years of experience in the global community, we are the vehicle experts for expats. We are International Auto Source.
So let's talk about sustainability. You wrote that in really interesting PDF this past week, I think, and it's about a corporate procurement guy, probably a young guy, who doesn't know anything about household goods or the investment required to be successful, and learned and all about sustainability. Now, what the heck does that mean, right?
Mhm.
And so I could tell you a little story here, real quick. Up until February 27, I was on a plane, leaving on a jet plane, going to New York, going to Washington, going to Europe, going to Mexico, going to wherever, producing one of our live meetings. We even tried to do one in Amsterdam. But we've done Berlin and Frankfurt and Italy and Geneva and Zurich and others. But now I can't do that. Now, maybe a year from now, who knows? Maybe that'll happen again. But
Yeah.
I think this format is going to continue, and we'll probably see a hybrid thing. But about sustainability in the household goods and shipping and freight, you wrote like an educational story. It's a great storytelling. Why don't you tell John a little bit about that?
We do a lot of RFPs. Support our members with RFPs, and every time there's a question on sustainability, we write our response on sustainability as an organization. But once you come to contract implementation, it sort of goes out the window, and there's really no attention for sustainability. Actually had a call with an HR manager the other day, and before I had that call, I studied their website, and it was all about sustainability. Everything you read was about sustainability. So I asked the question, is that how important is it that your mover or relocation company does something on sustainability? So, no, it's not really important at all. Then I thought, well, how can there be such a mismatch between what your company is doing and what you want your suppliers to be doing? Seems a bit hypocritical in a way, hypocritical. So I thought I'd write something that in sort of a funny story way that people would read and attract attention. And if you really take sustainability serious, then it should be an important criteria. You should really ask detailed questions on what suppliers do on creating a more sustainable model. And there's so much going on in this industry that suppliers want to do and can do, but if it's not awarded, it's not incentivized by governments or by large corporations, then there really is no incentive to invest. An investment in sustainability is pretty expensive for an asset-based industry like the moving industry. It's not something you can change overnight. You can't change all your trucks, etc. So if it is really incentivized, then suppliers are willing to do something about it. But if it's not really rewarded as such, then don't expect suppliers to do that automatically. They're looking to win business, whatever wins them the business. And if sustainability is not part of that, then we just do it for what? That's why I wrote that piece, because I personally think that sustainability is extremely critical going forward for us collectively. And I think that it should have more attention, and that's why I wrote a couple of jokes in there about conditions being tied to the COVID-19 support program from governments, that sustainability now is taken seriously, suddenly.
So how you phrased it, what I found interesting was that the procurement officer didn't even know what that meant, but then when he got into discussions with people like you, who explained the whole nature of household goods industry, the asset base, a huge investment, training and development, and how you guys are already doing that. Because you're all in locally owned and heavily invested in local communities in a lot of different places, you were able to teach that guy about how to do his job better.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, Frank, it's not just us. I mean, but if you look at any family-owned business that is, grind in a local community and support a local community, everybody is doing something about sustainability. They want to be good citizens, and everybody does something, and so does our network, of course. But if it's not taken into consideration, by corporations, then it reduces the appetite for investment, a real investment. I mean, in electric vehicles and all sorts of other stuff, CO2 compensation completely, and it costs money. There may be some trade-offs. And one of the suggestions I made is that why do we pay for storage? Why do we pay for FCL containers if they're traveling half full? Why do we pay for air freight for an advanced shipment if it's not really necessary? Where air freight has a huge CO2 emission, whereas ocean freight doesn't. Well, a lot less at least.
So
I want thinking about that.
So I want to shift gears a little bit so we maximize the efficiency of time here. Some of your members are very, very active now as opposed to the past in being in the DSP, a destination services provider, relocation management. All right, without calling it that really. I mean, it's just an added service, right?
Yeah. So what we've done, so Harmony itself and none of our members are actual relocation management companies. The scope of what we do is household goods moving and DSP, and that's the scope. So the members that we attract are companies that actually perform household goods moving and locally DSP. And up until last year, us as a head office, we were not supporting DSP services. So if there was an RFP with a question about DSP, we would not be able to respond to that. We formally decided to expand the scope of our service to also include destination services. So that's what we're doing. So we do attract companies, especially moving companies that have the DSP capabilities, but also separate DSPs.
So would you call on, you meaning you yourself, call on a corporation, say ABC company that happens to be in Holland, but has offices or reach around the world, and you would say to, hypothetically, you would say to that corporate person, we have a couple of very, very successful operators, partners in Spain and in Australia and in Brazil and in Canada and in US and in the Far East. So we could help you, whatever you need. And our local people, because they're so heavily invested in their own local communities for generations, usually, they're leaders in the communities and they know how to get things done. So therefore, it's where the rubber meets the road in the relo business is helping the people who are being relocated actually speed up their efficiency and become productive better because they're happier. They don't have the hassles.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. It would not be us. It would be one of our member companies, and they would be selling the capabilities of the network, the overseas partners that also are able to do a DSP in the United States or in Brazil or in Mexico, as you mentioned. And usually it's when the scope is limited to those two services. And on the European continent, you see a lot of that. In the United States, but also the UK, a lot of those larger contracts are outsourced to an RMC. For all good reasons. But in Europe, most of the time, relocation management means moving and destination services, and all the other stuff is outsourced to one of the big four.
So we've talked about I'm going to read this. We've talked about the cooperative network model, the sustainability, the business of the Harmony Relocation Network and its member firms, the DSP idea, the idea of customer service with a company such as John's. And so let's talk about the vaccine, COVID, and the new now, as I call it. What do you see in your crystal ball for the first quarter, or maybe the second quarter? First quarter would be better if you have clarity.
Yeah, it's difficult, and probably if I knew, I wouldn't be a mover. I'd be an investment banker. No, but jokes aside, I think that what we see is that it will take some time before international relocation bounces back. We have seen what we have seen this year is still a lot of movement. A lot of repatriations, a lot of domestic moving, a lot of office moving. So our companies have kept extremely busy. So funnily enough, it was an extremely busy year for moving companies in general. If you just do corporate moving or corporate international moving, you probably see that your market shares or your revenue is down 30-40%. But if you're well diversified, then you're probably close to 90 or 100%, or sometimes even better. It depends a bit on type of company. What I've spoken to the last couple of weeks to, I think about 75%, so face to face with my network, and most of them are very, very stable and are doing very well, specifically because they are diversified. And so that's a very positive sign. What we also notice is that the business shared inside the network was more than it was in 2019.
Wow.
That's great. Remarkable, specifically because 2019 obviously was a much better year for most in terms of revenue. But it seems like the companies are taking shelter in the network. They prefer to work inside the network than outside because we have good visibility on financial stability of the network. And I think that companies are afraid to work with companies they don't know that well because they may go out of business overnight. And then there's a client.
Yeah, I know. Because you don't know what's really behind the balance sheet. Yeah. So in Africa, if we could focus on Africa, it's huge. I mean, it's immense. It's so diverse as well.
Yeah.
So you have member firms there. Right?
Yeah, a couple. I would say Africa is probably the least developed network or area of our network. We will be expanding in 2021. But of course, you will normally find our network representatives in those areas where you'll find a huge amount of expats. Yeah? And in Africa, it is not easy to find VDFame, qualified movers, obviously, which is important to us. And sometimes, the investment required to become part of Harmony, because there is an investment required, doesn't justify the amount of business that is there in any certain market. Doesn't mean that we can't service Africa. So we do a lot of business from and to Africa as a network, but we use agents. But we are present in a couple of countries, South Africa, Angola, Egypt, and we'll be expanding into sub-Saharan Africa soon.
Okay, and what about Brazil?
Brazil is a fairly well-developed expat market. We have 3 members there. And we always have to balance the amount of members with the size of the market. If you have too many members, it dilutes the value of the brand. But if you don't have enough members, you don't have enough market share. And it's sometimes a fine line to walk. And that's the job, of course, that we do as network managers, to make sure that there is enough members in any given market without them leaving because there are too many.
So we are focusing in, like, for instance, yesterday we just did a broadcast, which I'm calling Bound For, in other words, destination, Bound For Greece. All right. Yeah. And we also did Bound For, it was kind of an amalgamated show. We had representation from Mexico and from Hong Kong and Toronto and India and somewhere else, I can't remember, but and it was a really good show, a good conversation. So we're doing the Bound for Brazil on December 14, And then soon thereafter, we'll be doing Bound for Mexico and Bound for Argentina. And we might be doing Chile as well. So I'm looking for partners in each place, of course, who want this kind of PR. So I bring that just to talk about, we don't have an established network like Harmony at all. It's just, who do we know? And we ask them to consider being involved.
No, sure. I can share with you, of course, the ones in our network. I'll do that offline, and you can contact them. Feel free to.
Oh, bless you.
We're happy to be on the show.
Oh, that's really nice. So as we come to a close here, I really thank you for being on Global TV. This has been very efficient use of time and a lot of information. And networking has occurred, which makes my job a lot easier. So I thank you. I welcome you to come back as we do more of a focus in January on the household goods industry, as a matter of fact, and surviving. Okay. Idea exchange kind of thing.
Sure.
Sort of a group therapy show.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'd be happy to
that's nice.
be involved. Yeah.
All right, we'll be back to you. John, thanks for sharing some of your time and insight again. The very practical information. Everybody loves new cars, whether it's a RAV4, like your customer in the Philippines,
Right.
or a Skoda. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ed. It's always a pleasure. I always enjoy being on these shows, and I always enjoy meeting the interesting people you bring to the broadcast.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. Thanks, Paul. Take care. Thank you again. We got to sign off. This is Ed in San Diego, John Schuldt in New York with IAS, Paul Bernardt in Amsterdam. Have a Heineken and have a good night.
I might just, yeah. Right.
Okay. Ciao.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.